and Girls from Stars and anyone from Clontarf here as well. Alison and Josh from the Kapooka Army Band for your singing. And welcome to dignitaries. Michael McCormick and Catherine, Joe McGurr, I can see Councillor Larter, Councillor Thompson and Councillor Hardwick, the other councillors here. Welcome to those. And welcome to everybody else who's been involved in this wonderful project. Now call upon Zita Vabiopoulos, the indefatigable Zita, to talk about where she's up to, what she's done, which is incredible. I sound like Donald Trump, incredible. But here she is, the indefatigable Zita Vabiopoulos.
Can you all hear me? Thank you, James, and I'm not indefatigable. Believe me, I do get tired. Thank you all for coming. Our journey started over 2 years ago now. A small group of people, there were actually only 5 of us at the time, decided that we wanted to write a book, and we wanted that book to be historic. We wanted it to show that every man and woman who put their hand up to serve had a place in our book. That meant every man and woman that enlisted, whether they got in or not, they still had that place in our book. And we have achieved that. Our small group of people, special people, Kerry Back, our farmer, family goes back to the 1800s, well known in our community. He would come in from the farm at night and he would sit sometimes, much to Anne's disgust, until midnight reading newspapers to make sure that we had all of the names of those men and women that enlisted. And to me, I just want to say a special thank you to him, because without Kerry, we wouldn't have this book. And he's very embarrassed, I might add. We all know what Kerry's like. We have finished it, we've completed it, it's here, and it's a fabulous achievement for my team. They have worked tirelessly since we started this 2.5 years ago. We all actually simply got together. We fundraise annually, twice annually, and we donate to the National Centre for Veterans Health. And we also now are starting to donate to Legacy as well. Anything to do with veterans we will support, as well as making sure that we preserve the memories of all veterans, not just those who enlisted and those who got medals, but every single man and woman that have served for our country. The results that we got were 3,363 men and women enlisted. Of those 3,363, 9 were women, they were nurses. 2,618 actually went to war, and this is the devastating part, 561 did not return home. And that's 21% of a whole generation that our Snowy Mountains lost. An incredible, incredible honour for us to be able to put this book together for those men. And fortunately, no women died over there, that came from our area. We have already started our second book, and our second book starts from 1921 and continues until 2025, and our launch date for that at the moment is 2027. So let's hope we can stick to it, but it's going to be a pretty big job. Now, I have some very special thank yous. See these poppies laid out in front of us? There is actually over 3,000 poppies that the ladies of Tumut, Batlow and Adelong have knitted and crocheted to have them here today on the grass in front of you. They represent every man and woman that enlisted for our country. And I think that deserves a huge clap. The special ladies, there were very special ladies, Margaret Hillier, we lost count of how many she knitted. Joan Brooks, we lost count of how many she knitted. There was Judy Crane, there was the Adelong View Club, there was Chris Horsley and her Batlow knitters, there was the Tumut View Club, the Batlow View Club. Every single one of them has contributed to this book in the way of our poppies. And for those who don't know, the purple poppy is the emblem of the animals in war. So, and there's actually a Victoria Cross for the animals in war, and it's called the Blue Cross. So we've made sure that we included the animals as well. I also want to thank the Lighthorse Tumut Reenactment Lighthorse Group. Noel Bridle and his counterpart are here to help us celebrate today. We were lucky enough to have Blakely Miller Foundation support us with the financial side of this book, and that was a lovely surprise. They're a very quiet group, and they support a lot of community groups in our area. Tumut Adelong Times and radio, they support us and never stop supporting us. We give them, in dollar terms, over $2,000 worth of advertising every month with our New West Wales article from the Tumut Times. And we do monthly chats every time, and if we want it, we just talk to Dave, and he's there all the time as well. Harvey Norman, her representative here, thank you Nathan for allowing us to use your window for our displays in Remembrance Day and Anzac Day, and also for the support that your company has given us as far as product is concerned. Snowy Hydro supported us with the donation of a photocopier this year so that we could actually proofread the book. We now are a team of 9, so we're still only small. We've had 3 wonderful people join us, and they joined us right at the end when we really needed their help to edit and get this book out, get this book to the publisher. And that's about it for me. Thank you all for coming. I greatly appreciate the support. Somebody once said to me, you know, we're Ringins here, Wayne and I. We've only been here 5 years, but someone once said to me, oh, the Tumut community don't give anything. I tell you what, every time we ask, you give. And that is the most wonderful, wonderful feeling. It doesn't matter what it's for. Friday, we were down raising money for Remembrance Day, and there were 4 stalls. There was Rotary, there was Can Assist, what was the other one? There was us, of course, and there was somebody else. Lions Club were there. And Tumut people, thank you. I thank you personally for all the support you've given us. I'll now pass you over to James. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks, Zita. Another round of applause for Zita. I'm going to call Michael McCormack down. Michael has been a great supporter. He's a former journalist. He's a former Deputy Prime Minister, and he has been so supportive of this community over the years. During the fires, he called me every couple of days to see how we were going. He's not our local member. He wasn't our local member at the time. He will be in the future, hopefully. He was very, very thoughtful, considerate, and kind in his words when we were under great stress. He also was a great believer in the project behind us, which is the Jack Ryan project, which was Anzac Centenary project, and he managed to get us $30,000 seed funding to start that project off. Now, it was a bit controversial at the time, but eventually we got it over the line, and it hopefully includes most of the people that are in the book from the First World War up on that wonderful prize. And not only that, he not only got us government, he also contributed personally. So it's wonderful to have Michael here. It's wonderful that he shows this support and it has great interest in history and in particularly in war history. So Michael McCormack.
Well, thank you, James, and I acknowledge Dr. Joe McGill, my good friend, the state member here for Wagga Wagga, encompassing Snowy Valleys Council area. Acknowledge James and other former mayors, Trina and John, other councillors who may be present, but also to everybody here, particularly the young people, because it's the young people who will carry the legacy, indeed, of our Snowy Valleys heroes. Zita, zeal, intensity, tenacity and application. Probably, I don't know which one of those words sums her up best, probably intensity, because when you meet Zita, you don't say no to Zita. Joe, I'm sure you're very much the same in that regard, because when she sets her mind to something, you know it's going to be achieved with your help, because she is somebody who gets behind something and drives it to the end, to a successful finish. And to you, Zita, and your hard-working committee, I say thank you. A big thank you. On behalf of our veterans, on behalf of our Snowy Valleys heroes. We're very lucky that Lena and Rachel have put together a book about Gundagai's war heroes. We're very lucky that Catherine and Ron Frew have put a book together about Tumbarumba's heroes. But now we have a book dedicated to Snowy Valleys heroes, to Tumut's heroes. And when you hear of the numbers involved, more than 3,000, hundreds, more than 500 who did not come back from war. And Brendan Nelson, probably the best Prime Minister we'd ever had, later on when he was Director of the Australian War Memorial, commented that just the 60,000 who died in World War I, that number was replicated in the 10 years after World War I. So just as many died after World War I from injuries sustained in the Great War, and no war is great, and the same would probably be resembled here at Tumut. Probably just as many as the 550 odd who died, who didn't come back from that conflict, probably then passed away from all manner of injuries, shell shock and the like, injuries sustained in the First World War. And those stories are detailed in this great book. Those memories are made alive again. And it's really important that we remember our past. It's really important that we relive what they did for our communities, because but for those men and women too, we would not be here enjoying the peace and democracy and freedom that we tend to take for granted. And it's reminded of us so often when we have Josh and Alison singing with the wonderful Australian Army Band Kapooka. And if you could put your hands together for them, and if you could take that back to the rest of your band, because they are so good. Wagga Wagga thinks it owns the band, it does not. It's the 1RTV that owns the band, and they are there for the march outs. But they turn up to so many community events, not just in Wagga Wagga, but in Tumut, right throughout our wider region. And we do thank you, and we do honour you, as well as the wonderful Whitehorse troop. I mean, and they are fantastic too, and they have bobbed up everywhere over the past decade. And we're delighted to have you here again today. You add so much colour and movement. But to Zita, you and your team, thank you so. Yeah, if you give them, don't feel too loud. We don't want to scare the horses. But to Zita and your team, thank you for everything that you've done. I know you're now working hard. I hope you're getting some younger members with just as much enthusiasm for Volume 2. This could just go on and on and on. But thank you for making sure that we give dedication and gratitude to those who served in the First World War and those conflicts before that, Boer War, Sudan and other conflicts, of course. Thank you for doing that, because we should always remember our history, because our history reflects our present and our history will shape our future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Michael. I'll now call Dr. Joe up, but before he comes up, I'll just let you know Dr. Joe is a bit of a francophile. He spends, or used to spend, when he gets a chance, a bit of time in France. And I'm pleased to say that next year, 2025, Tumut will be sending some students again to France to visit the Australian War Memorial and be a veteran. And we've been doing that off and on since 2003. More than 300 young people from the Tumut area have been to Europe and culminating in a trip to the Western Front at the end of their trip. And usually on Anzac Day they attend a service. Now next year at Anzac Day they will be attending the dawn service of their veteran, which is a memorial to 10,000 Australian men whose bodies could not be found to be buried. There are more than 100 young men from this area on those walls. The children will lay a wreath at the ceremony. Hopefully they'll be on the official program. We've written to the Minister for Veterans Affairs asking that they be included in the official program and lay a wreath for Australian schools. But they will be also taking some of these copies over too to commemorate those men that were lost. So it's a wonderful thing to do, and it's a life-changing thing for young people, and all those people that have supported that over the years. I thank you very much.
Inside, I'll stand on tiptoes. Inside this box are the 20 poppies that our tulip and at Laddelong and Batlow ladies admitted that the children will be taken over to Willis Breton Field. Thank you, James.
Thank you, Zita, and thanks for everyone who did these and for considering it. Dr. Joe.
Thanks so much, James. And can I just begin by acknowledging my friend, parliamentary colleague, Michael McCormack, and his wife, Catherine. Wonderful to have you here, Michael. I have to say, just fantastic. And also acknowledge the Wiradjuri elders, Stan Russell and Sue and Uncle Pat, Auntie Sue, and any Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander people present. Thank you for the smoking ceremony. Welcome to country. Can I also acknowledge the stars? Wonderful performance. Wonderful to hear that in Wiradjuri language as well. Many people to acknowledge. There are a number of councillors. Councillor Larder, I believe, is here. Of course, James as MC. Councillor Thompson, and I think Councillor Grant Hardwick is here as well. Can I also acknowledge the Kapooka Army Band who performed here? Michael mentioned those, and also the Lighthorse as well. Thank you very much. The context today is just what a beautiful day it is today, and to be here. And I was just looking back at that wonderful view, listening to the wonderful talks and looking at these rosettes, and James, your mention of France. I have travelled back to France many times. I've been to that wonderful memorial at Willis Breton and toured the fields of the Somme. The amazing thing about the French is when you tell them that you're Australian, they still to this day acknowledge what our country did over there for them, so far away. And you know, we sort of inherited that, and we've inherited that goodwill, and we've inherited this beautiful country that we live in. Yep, we've got our problems, but would you live anywhere else? Just looking out on that scene, would you live anywhere else? It's a glorious day. I know it's, you know, we've got issues with crops and frost and all sorts of things, but boy, we are lucky. And you know, that comes from the sacrifice of people who've died and also people who've returned. And so celebrating them today is just a really special event. As I say, it's a great honour, and I have just written a few words, so just bear with me as I read these out. But it's a great honour, obviously, to celebrate the stories of the veterans here today, particularly those from the Snowy Valleys who served between 1854 and 1920, as I understand it. It can be easy to lose track of the brave men and women who heeded their country's call, often at great personal cost. In small communities, of course, heroes are always honoured. And after the First World War, we built so many memorials. Almost every town in Australia you visit will have a memorial. After the Second World War, we stopped building memorials. We started building swimming pools and libraries and so on. But the point was that we were still remembering that sacrifice. But of course, as time goes by, we can get a little complacent, a little bit take for granted what people have done. So this project is just a wonderful way of keeping alive that really important memory. And so prompted by the realisation that there wasn't a historical reference book covering people from the Snowy Valleys who served in war and peace, the team behind this work set out on an ambitious mission to find every man or woman who was born, lived, worked, enlisted and returned to Snowy Valleys after the conflict. And it encompassed a large area. It included Corryong to the south, up to Coombe, across to Coolac and Julian. And what a remarkable result. We heard this morning more than 3,000 names recorded, and of course more than 500 who died. It's a remarkable result. And the work that the people have done to bring this book together is a great service to history and to the families of those men and women whose stories have now been immortalised for future generations. And it's a document that will allow the rest of us to learn, pay our respects and gain a greater understanding of how this region played its part on the national and world stages. Among the thousands who have been recorded, there are boys as young as 14 who took up arms for their country, 21 Aboriginal veterans, 2 VC recipients in Jackie Ryan and Albie Lowison, and Chimit's Alexander Wallace, and I acknowledge his son Bruce, and of Bruce's wife Judy, who are here today in the front row. A special welcome to them. I think this book acknowledges that service in the theatre of war with our Defence Forces often comes at a cost. It's not just for those who give their lives, of course that's a terrible cost, and it's not just for those families, but it's also the often silent cost of those who do survive and return. And Michael, you mentioned the deaths that occurred after World War I. And of course, the recent Royal Commission into Veteran Suicides has highlighted this issue. And Michael, I heard you speak in the Federal Parliament during the week, and you spoke very movingly of the work being done by Pro Patria, but you spoke very movingly of the 1,677 veterans who took their own lives between 1997 and 2021. It's probably more closer to 3,000, but 1,677. And as you said, Michael, at the time, there shouldn't have been one. And I think we celebrate and remember those who died in war, but I think sometimes we don't acknowledge what people who survive bring back and what their families then have to manage. And those suicides are an indication, I think, of that trauma, and we need to do much better. And I think this book is part of our remembering not just those who died, and that is important. I'm not saying that's not important, but I do think it's important that we also remember often what people who survive bring back. And I think we do need to do better to support them. And as I say, Michael, they were great words in Parliament, and I really appreciate you making that point. I think it's a really important point. So it's right that we commemorate those people who've served and recognise the price they've paid. And this book, as Zita has, Indefatigable Zita, Zita for Zeal, has said, it took 2 years to put it together, more than 2 years. And so I just want to acknowledge Zita, Phyllis Starra, Kerry Beck, Wayne Vafiopoulos, Sue Bolger, Diana Palmer, Catherine Davis, Helen Reddick, Dorothy Mulvihill, Anne Back and Alan Tonkin, who I think were the team that put this together. Congratulations, and let's put our hands together for them again. You've provided a great service to our community and to the memories of those men and women, and that should not be forgotten. And I hope that the second book, which will document more heroes, will be just as warmly welcomed and will form just as an important legacy for our community. So congratulations, it's a great honour to be here today. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Joe. Joe talked about the French not forgetting, and it reminded me of going back to the school. There's two schools. There's the junior school, which is the Victoria School, which has got Do Not Forget Australia. They're both born to be available. But there's another one, which is the middle school, which is the Sharkhill College. As you walk to the front door, there's a sign, a street plate, that says Wynyard Street, which came down here. That's got Chimichai Council on it. And you go through the front door, and there's a clock on the wall, which we've got worked in to the button, which has got Chimichai. And then there's a showcase with memorabilia from this area and from Australia. So such is the connection between that town and ours that has been established by our students going over there, billeting with their students, and their students coming here on 2 occasions and billeting with us. It builds that strength, and they don't. Dignitaries and team members cut ribbon and launched the book. Can we come out, please? Any dignitaries? Which dignitaries do you require, Zita?
Let's move aside.
just run through them again. We have Joseph Baragry from Tumbarumba. We have Reginald Joseph Crane from from Gundagai. We have, oh dear, Arthur. He's from Gundagai as well. Frankie back from here. We have Albie Lowison from Adelong. We have Jackie Ryan, of course, from here, and we have William Malcolm Chisholm. So they're all very, very special people as far as our history is concerned. And thank you both very, very much. Okay. And you can take it. All right. As I mentioned before, Blakely Miller Foundation have been wonderful to us and have given us the ability to actually publish this book. And on behalf of Blakely Miller Foundation, I'm going to present, they have asked me to present both schools with the first copies of the book, and also a representative of the Tumut RSL sub-branch. I'll just get the books.
So if representatives could come down. Alison Swan from Tumut High School. Someone from sub-branch. Someone from the college.
Sally Swan from Tumut High School. And Sheila is representing the Tumut RSL sub-branch. Oh, you're there. Sorry, I didn't think we had anybody here. Come forward, Jeff. Steve. I didn't see you. Across Macaulay High School, Macaulay Catholic College, have we got a representative here? Auntie Sue, would you like to take this on behalf of Macaulay for us, if you don't mind? Thank you all very much. And I'd like to now invite the Kapuka Army band members to sing a very special song called The Veterans Hallelujah.
Across the sea, fight a war. You didn't know just what would happen to you. Stepped in the dirt, boots on the ground, and gunfire was the only sound. And to yourself you whispered, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Every day and every night, you walked the walk, you fought the fight, you never saw the end in sight after you. The days were washing haze and red, blood in the mind, too many dead. You weary souls crying, hallelujah, hallelujah. Too late to help, you hear shots.
strength to carry on. You thought it'd be much better back home, did you? You try each day, keep pushing through, but the battle lives inside of you. It's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah.